Hi everybody! Today in this video we are going to be talking about 3 stories that showcase some of the best horror and writing I've seen so far. If you're a fan of creepy and eerie horror, I believe this will be the perfect video for you. An obvious spoiler alert warning: if you haven't seen these stories, I recommend watching them, but in this video we do talk about the endings and everything, so definitely revisit this video if you don't want to get spoiled. Without further ado, sit back, relax, grab some snacks, and let's get right into the video. I hope you'll enjoy. I want to start off with the 2 obvious comparisons, which are Coraline and Littlenighmares. Following our main protagonists, who are both girls and both surprisingly wear a yellow raincoat, it was quite interesting to figure out these similarities in these 2 mediums. Doing a quick Google search, I found it captivating that in Chinese culture, a yellow raincoat can often symbolize resilience and practicality, according to sourcifychina.com. I also read that the color yellow can also represent courage and bravery, as stated by wisdomsofthespirit.com. I think these 2 details are perfect indicators for our 2 leads in these mediums. 6, a small girl in a big world, literally, has to battle constant threats and dangers, whether it's navigating through huge obstacles twice her size while someone tries to hunt her down, or escaping an absurd and massive feast where people would much rather eat her than the food on their plate. It's clear that the battles are seemingly endless and a risk to her life. With that being said, she still fights to escape them all, which is also known as the boat she's trapped on. This shows her resilience and courage in an extreme way. Similar to Miss Coraline, actually. When Coraline realizes that this heaven on earth is in fact the opposite, she has to have the bravery and courage to challenge the other mother. With predicaments such as finding the ghost eyes, which takes her deeper into the world she's trying to escape, but also having to fight and defeat her once family/friends now turn zombies. And I say zombies as being brainlessly controlled by the beldam and not actual zombies, obviously. I don't know about you, but if I had to be put into this world by myself and had to complete all these things that these girls are going through, I would be terrified. Genuinely shit my pants terrified. I don't know how they're doing it. Especially in 6's universe, imagine constantly trying to get eaten by people that are like 5 times your size. I would have been out in the first 4 minutes of the game, honestly. I personally think that their yellow raincoats can also signify a light in a dark and scary place. Life is going to be filled with things that are scary. It's as simple as that. Coraline and 6 are strong symbols to tell you to push through your fears and to trust in yourself. You are your biggest asset, no matter how difficult the road may seem, and there will always be a light at the end of the tunnel. Speaking of raincoats, I think what also can tie these 2 universes together is the sizing of the dolls and the children. Maybe somehow the beldam has another way to capture kids. There could be a possibility where she's working together with the lady, which we know as the main antagonist for Littlenighmares 1. I always found it very interesting how both of these stories include getting a certain energy or satisfaction from eating children. It's gotten to a point in the nowhere, or the universe in which Littlenighmares takes place in, that people know how good children are to eat. It's why when all the visitors on the mall see 6, they instantly disregard all the food they already have in access, and instead they go straight for her. We obviously know that the other mother needs constant food to keep herself alive. As we know, she's already had 3 victims, which Coraline ends up meeting, but maybe she has a backup. Maybe it's a really hard process to obtain children from the lady, but still could be a possibility. It makes you wonder why so many body bags are being packaged up in the lower decks of the mall. Maybe they're sending them out. Maybe they're shipping them to her. Another interesting comparison that I just mentioned, and one you probably already saw coming, is both antagonists are older women, the lady and the other mother. They seem to have already great power before our main leads even encounter them. With the lady now having a thriving cruise ship where people can have an all-you-can-eat buffet, she seemingly has a great business standpoint.
Okay, girl boss.
All jokes aside, we also know she does have some type of power considering the movement in her boss fight. And also the fact that somehow she gets weakened by just looking at herself in a mirror. Like, come on, it's obvious. It's clear that she has some type of Medusa effect, and she can't look at herself without causing damage or getting weakened. One of the more obvious conclusions is that she has some sort of telekinesis. We can clearly see this when Six eats the lady, and it appears that she gains her powers. As Six is exiting the maw, she can effortlessly defend herself by snapping necks and killing people just as she walks by. I would also like to note, it could be possible she has some sort of controlling or hypnotic power, because ain't no way all these people are getting on that boat and willingly eating all that food. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, maybe she can put them in like a trance, like in Percy Jackson, to make them forget how much they've eaten or something. I don't know. It's just crazy how much these people eat. Regardless, though, we obviously can tell that her main power is telekinesis. The other mother has more of a magic power, allowing her to create and shape a world, making it her own personal sandbox. I would like to note, though, I believe she lives in this world, but I don't think she's contained to it. We know that the world still exists because the cat can travel through many passages, so it's not like it's a one and done once she dies. I also like the theories that are speculated online that the well Coraline stumbles upon could also be another passageway or like another portal to this world. I like the idea, but also it gets me nervous because if that's true, Coraline sent the key back to the other world. But regardless, we know that the other mother can create things, right? It does appear that she has to use different materials and can't just create out of thin air. We can come to this conclusion by obviously the buttons, but also written in the book when the other mother starts losing power, Coraline finds her father in the cellar. In chapter 9, it states, "Up through the hole came the smell of damp clay, and something else, an acrid tang like sour vinegar. This was the other father's smell when he got locked in the basement." It's clear that the people she creates can start to decompose if she loses too much power. They also try to allude to this in the movie as well, as the characters start to not look themselves, like how Spink and Forcebull
I see a giraffe
turn into a candy-like consistency, Wybie turns into dust, and Bobinsky turns into rats. This can signify that they're losing their shape and reverting back to what they used to be, because they were never actually human in the first place. Just pieces and materials to duplicate the real beings. Also, a fun little fact to add, which doesn't hold much weight in the argument, but I thought it was really funny. Both the other mother and the lady have a signature song that they hum.
Mom? What are you...
Again, not that big of a deal, but I just think it adds such a creepy and sinister aesthetic to these two characters. With that being said, we know these two ladies are very powerful and both hold some type of magical energy. With that being said, I think this allows for the same universe theory to develop even stronger, given the fact that these worlds can hold so much power and energy. My last point I want to make for Coraline and Littlenighmares is that they show us both of these worlds have an exact parallel of the other. In matter of fact, we have to go to Littlenighmares 3 to obtain this information. Playing as Lo and Alone, we see some of their puzzles consist of breaking the two-dimension barrier and having to unlock things in one universe to complete a step in another, while also being able to jump through portals, placing them in different areas until Lo finally reaches the other side. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but for Lo and Alone, they are in an area where there is no Beldam to clean up the mess and make it look safe, make it look inviting. Instead, it's a barren area that no one besides the dangerous creatures are settled in. Similar to Coraline, once she goes through her portal, she comes out at basically the same end. Everything looks pretty much the same, or even better, happier, more inviting. This is the cherry on top for me because out of all the similarities between these worlds, I think this one might make the strongest point, knowing that there are two dimensions and it's basically a parallel. For our next evaluation, it has to be Coraline and the 9 movie. Now, recently I had to rewatch this movie because the last time I watched it, it was years ago when I was just a wee lad. And this is a stunning movie. As a child, I remember being drastically scared by this baby doll thing. I don't know why. It creeped me out. It did. The whole movie was creepy, terrifying, and yet still so breathtaking and thought-provoking. I wanted to know more. It's a movie that draws you in, gives you some information, and then leaves you to pick up the pieces yourself. I love when movies and video games do this. They give you enough to keep you interested while still being able to hold their hand behind their back without you noticing. All three of these pieces of horror do this really well. They have whole stories and concepts for their world, but only show you part of it. 9 is an animated sci-fi film that was released on September 9th, 2009. So 090909. That's honestly so satisfying.
See, I'm telling you, I have the mind of a I have the mind of a mastermind. What's that? I don't know, but I'm so creative like that.
This film showcases a direct result of a war between humans and robots. When a human asks a robot to protect and keep the peace in the world, a robot can never fail at its task. Because of this, these machines realized that the main disruption of the peace they needed to protect was in fact the human beings to begin with. 9 follows a group of numbered ragdolls. It feels wrong saying that, but that's literally what they are, ragdolls, through this now destroyed and abandoned wasteland. They have to navigate different enemy machines that still stand after the war and find out what their true purpose constitutes. I think it's very interesting that both Coraline and 9's opening scenes take place as a doll is being handcrafted by the maker. For Coraline, obviously the doll that resembles her and spies on her is being assembled by the other mother, and in 9, obviously number 9, is being created by the scientist. It's such a small detail, but I really liked how it tied into both movies. This detail also reveals that later, somehow, some way, these two puppeteer masters have created a way to give life or some type of soul into a doll. We know this because, as stated by Coraline, the dolls are how the other mother watches you. They're her spies.
The doll's her spy. It's how she watches you, finds out what's wrong with your life.
In 9, all the numbered dolls discover at the end of the movie that they were all a part of the scientist's soul. I think these two movies are what happens when magic crosses over into the real world. Somehow this scientist figured out, just like the Beldam, how to create life into dolls. Was he kidnapped by the other mother before? Did she promise him a life of happiness where he could create anything he wanted? Or maybe he got a chance to study a doll that maybe looked like him. Regardless, it's very similar, even down to the point of having a possibility to release the souls as well. Coraline had to find the ghost's eyes and eventually release them to be freed. Parallel to 9, as this giant metal monster starts picking off the group one by one, it is up to the remaining survivors to finally put an end to the terror it has created and free their friends from its captivity. In both worlds, souls can be trapped and released. I also would like to know, even in Littlenighmares, we have seen a sort of transported soul dealing with the runaway kid. First, he starts off as a child, and later in the DLC, we observed him turning into one of the little gnomes that run around the maw. Unfortunately, that's kind of all the information we get on it because 6 kind of eats him, so yeah. But, regardless, it happened, so. Souls and magic are huge parts of these universes. It's a distinct identifier, giving these places a sense of new depth. With how distinct catching and releasing souls are, it helps add a new bridge connecting these universes together. Moving on to Littlenighmares and the 9 movie, I would like to start off with the point of a post-apocalyptic world. As you can see on screen, it's obvious that 9 takes you through a world of war and destruction. It leads us to examine a world in ruins, nothing but rubble and havoc. Again, referencing back to Littlenighmares 3, I think it's stimulating that it has a similar terrain. Lots of rubble, concrete, and no life. Also, isn't it kind of interesting that an old baby doll head is used in both of these stories? But nonetheless, I believe that in Little Nightmares, you are crossing over into a dimension. And obviously, for the third installment of the game, you run across Nine's deserted wasteland just for a short period of time. I think adding the mirrors to the third game really can give the illusion that you are traveling anywhere and everywhere. So skipping through a Coraline universe and then onto the Nine's universe isn't that crazy of a concept. To connect all these worlds, I don't think there's a specific timeline for these universes. I think they're all happening simultaneously, giving Little Nightmares the connector to the three worlds. I can't really explain it that well, but I drew this and hopefully you can kind of help visualize it a little bit more. So yeah. In conclusion, chat, am I reaching?
Come on, you have to believe me! Please! You have to believe me!
I mean, I might be reaching a little bit, but I'm not gonna lie, I really wanted a chance to just talk about some of my favorite top horror stories, so if you aren't 100% convinced that these worlds could be one, I understand. I'm not mad at you. I get it. Low-key, that title just sounded really good, so I kind of just clickbaited you guys, but I do think that my comparison and parallels really make the video interesting. I think the strongest connection has to be the Coraline and Little Nightmares. I definitely could see that being a real possibility, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of just threw in 9 in there because, like, again, it's one of my top movies, especially horror. I feel like these stories give off the same vibe. I don't know how to explain it, but again, I feel like these movies are all like siblings. Like, they just have the perfect horror, eerie creepiness to it. Of course, if you want to say this video was more of a comparison of similarities kind of type deal, which that's completely fine in my opinion. My main goal was just to have fun with this and to try to get my creative juices flowing, because I low-key want to try to write stories of my own one day. I don't know, maybe create some type of video game. I don't know. I just thought this would be a really fun way to try to make something work. Regardless, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. That helps me out a lot. Again, thank you so much for watching, and even if you just clicked on this video for a couple minutes, thank you. I really do appreciate it. And with all that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.